All right, so I got 5 more books back from CGC. This is a modern submission, no kind of pre-screens or anything like that. So let's dive in here and see what we've got. So if you're a fan of Daredevil, you're going to love this submission because I believe I have 3 books in here of the early Copper Age, late Bronze Age, however you want to figure the years, era. So this was number 174, first appearance of the Hand. It also has Elektra in it, as you can see on the cover. So yeah, this was a absolutely gorgeous copy. I thought it was a 9.4 when I got it in, and I'm hoping to get it up to that 9.8. It is borderline 9.4, 9.6, but I think it's more on the 9.8 side, hopefully. I paid $56 for it. So let's see what CGC thinks of this first book today. We got the 9.8. That is a very good start. Always a great start. This is just an absolutely gorgeous copy of this book. It's just crazy how nice this book looks. Just absolutely gorgeous. Just like almost a perfect example of this book. I don't know where there were flaws. There were a couple, but I don't see them now. So we'll take our 9.8. Okay, next book is another Daredevil. Now this is just a few issues later, number 179. So I paid only $23 for this one. I thought it was a 9.4 when I got it, and I thought I was only able to get it to 9.6. Now this one is probably a 9.6. It is kind of borderline 9.6, 9.8, but it's more on that 9.6 side. So we'd have to have a pretty loose grader probably to get the 9.8 on this one. So yeah, let's just check to see what the grader thinks of this one. Another 9.8. Okay, apparently we might have loose Larry today. That would be a very good thing. But yeah, I'll tell you, it's not like this book isn't quite deserving of the 9.8. It's just in that envelope, you know, that 9.8s and 9.6s are pretty much the same dang thing, as many of you know. There shouldn't be very many differences, and there aren't. It's just a matter of opinion. And once again, I'm looking at this book, and I'm trying to think why I'm giving it the 9.6 over the 9.8. I don't see it right offhand, but I'm sure there's something on there. I've been really strict and harsh using my grading tool lately. Just, you know, I've been probably erring on the side of too harsh, I guess, maybe. So I got to watch out for that. But yeah, I mean, we'll take the 9.8. So the next one is our last Daredevil for today. And as many of you know, I've featured this book before. It's one of my favorite Daredevil covers. And first appearance of Nuke. Obviously, this cover is an apt cover for Nuke. So this one I paid $27 for. I thought it was a 9.2 when I got it in, and I thought I was able to get it up to 9.6. Now, this is borderline 9.6, 9.8 territory again. It's a little bit nicer than the last book as far as my grading tools, so I'm expecting to get a 9.8 a fair amount of the time. I've got a note on here. This one did fail its first 9.8 pre-screen. And I'm looking at my notes. I just repressed it. I mean, I didn't think I had to, but I went ahead and repressed it and resubmitted it. Did it in a regular modern submission. I didn't want to do another pre-screen because I'm happy to have this book in a 9.6 anyway. So let's just see what the grader thinks. Another 9.8. So you send it in a pre-screen. It comes back to you raw. You send it back in a regular submission and you get a 9.8. This is why we do pre-screens, right? But this book is just out of this world how good it looks. So yeah, we are 3 for 3. So that is good. Next book is A Secret Wars. Now this one is not going to be a 9.8. No way. No chance. So yeah, this is just a classic book. Everybody wants it. Obviously, it's one of the bigger keys for Spider-Man collectors, especially in Copper Age. And there's something about this book. Let me check my notes. I actually bought this as a 9.4 slab. I paid $230. I don't think it's worth that anymore. It was a couple months ago that I bought this book. It was a decent price at the time. Now that's after tax and shipping. That's not what the price that I paid. And the reason I bought it is because it had a poor press job on it. There was a note about, I think, pebbling and canvassing. And pebbling just means that some kind of foreign material got in there during the press and it left little indentations in the book, and that can be corrected unless there's color break. And canvassing is where they use Teflon pads and they use them too many times, or anyways, it can transfer a pattern over to the book, and it's called canvassing. And it's tough, but I am able to typically get most of the canvassing out of a book. I believe I did an Amazing Spider-Man 340, if I remember, that had heavy canvassing on it, and I was able to get that out and get the 9.8. So we're just hoping that we can at least get a tiny grade bump on this, although my grading tool says this is still a 9.4. And I believe the reason I thought this is I thought there were a couple little tiny scratches right here on the cover, and I thought that would cap us. There's a couple ticks as well. It's a nice looking, well presenting 9.4 in my opinion, but you know, this CGC grader's been pretty loose so far, so let's see if that trend continues. Gave me the 9.6, which is excellent. I'm probably gonna lose money on this book, but it's not all about the money for me. When I see a copy of a key book like this, and I think I can improve it and get canvassing and pebbling, basically somebody just almost ruined this book. Be careful who you send books to get pressed. So yeah, extremely happy to have a 9.6 white pages of this book. And this one is a nice one. And not a big money maker probably, but that's not always what it's all about. I'm not sure what the 9.6 is worth. Obviously, you've probably already seen it on the screen. But we'll definitely take it. Very, very happy to get another one where we get a grade higher than we're expecting. Now, the last one we have a really cool Bronze Age X-Men Wolverine cover, Storm, and yeah, it's a key. John, man, let me see if I can read it on here. I can't remember the name. Wingard. It's revealed as Mastermind. Other than that, there's other reasons this book is a key, and if you know that, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear. I didn't read X-Men back. This is a little bit before my time. I would have been probably 4 or 5 years old at this time. So I didn't really collect this book back then, but I'm happy to have a copy of it now. So I bought this book. It only cost me $67 raw. It was a 9.2, I thought, when I got it in. It is borderline 9.6, 9.8, but I've already had one that wasn't quite as nice as this one that already got a 9.8. And I actually have pre-screened this one before as well. I pre-screened this one 9.8, knowing that I probably have to send it in again. But, you know, I thought I would just take a shot with it. But it is deserving of the 9.8. It's just very, very, very close. I'm a harsh grader. I think it's a 9.6, but I could see other graders thinking this is a 9.8. But this is the last one. Let's see what CGC thinks about this book. We got the 9.6, which I don't expect to get 9.8s on everything. That's the first one where we didn't get the bump in grade, and I'm sure there's a very good reason, because I think this might be a slightly loose grader. So if he's giving it a 9.6, it's probably not deserving of the 9.8, and I agree with him. It's fine. I will take a 9.6 on this book. It still has quite a bit of value at this grade, and it's just an absolutely beautiful book, being a Bronze Age book from 1980. What was I doing in 1980? So stay nerdy. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.